Hey everyone, this is Tim Winters with UnionCounty Football, and it's my pleasure to have on with me this afternoon Central Academy's head coach, Shane Griffin. Coach, welcome. It was a big day today, first day of practice. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me, Tim. I appreciate it.
With all the preparation over the last few weeks or months, planning for this day, how did it go?
I think the precautions and the safety guidelines we had in place, I think the workouts went really well this morning. Kids were very responsive. Parents did a great job of following directives, and I think it went as smooth as it could for the first day.
You've been through this one other time as a head coach. Obviously, the first day, always a little bit nerve-wracking, maybe the night before, just ready to get back out on the field. How apprehensive, or were you more nervous than normal with everything that's gone on since March 14th to this present day?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had trouble sleeping last night. I just wanted everything to go well. I was excited. I was excited for the kids more than I was for myself, and I just wanted to make sure that everything went smoothly, that we didn't have any hiccups along the way. The kids did a great job of getting their paperwork in and following the guidelines and the drop off and pickup procedures and maintaining social distance throughout the whole workout. I'm very, very impressed with the way things went today.
So obviously laying out a practice and all the responsibilities as a head coach, did you feel that added pressure of having to be responsible for these kids in a different way than maybe in the past with the distancing and everything else?
A little bit, but I worked together along with the athletic director, Jay Neesner, and our athletic trainer, and we had a great plan going into it. We prepped last week. We came out, cut some fields, marked off our territory, and made our pods for our kids to work out. They had their own. The way we lined it up was each kid had their own 5-by-5 yard sections, and they all worked out in their own section just so we can maintain. Each one of those pods also were 6 feet apart. So we made sure that none of the kids were like being around each other, at least 6 feet apart at all times.
So, Coach, you were named head coach, I guess, 3 weeks after the initial shutdown on March 14th. Should I assume that gave you at least a little bit of advantage, being that you're coming back to CATA, you were a little familiar with the school, but how difficult was it for you making that transition as teacher and coach during a very difficult period of time from the time that you were hired to this present date?
You know what? It's interesting you should ask that. I don't think it wasn't really that much strain at all to try to get back into it. I'm still, colleagues and friends with a lot of teachers and guidance counselors, and some of the administrators are still working in the building. So the transition for me to take over this position was pretty easy.
What was it that really made this position appealing to you to come back a third time to Central Academy as head coach?
I think, I guess, I debated about it. The opportunity arose, and it was open. I spoke with my family about it. Me and my wife had long conversations about it. I prayed about it a lot, and I just felt like it was a good opportunity for me to get back in the head coaching world, as well as my biggest thing is the kids. Like since I left, there's been 3 or 4 new head coaches since I left, and I just felt like the kids need some stability here. And I'm back to try to provide that stability. I make no plans on going anywhere, and I just want people to know that I'm here to stay. I'm here for the long haul.
Hey, Coach, so you have a few more years under your belt, but a wealth of experience, 20 years, as I mentioned. Do you see yourself doing anything differently in terms of your approach or planning, anything that you've grown over the last few years since the last time you held this position?
I think the biggest thing is evaluation of players and putting them in the right position and having a backup plan. I think one of the biggest things, my first stint as the head coach, not having a backup plan. We kind of built our offense around some key players, and we battled some injuries, especially my second year here. And we didn't have a definitive backup plan as far as offensive scheme and defensive scheme. Because we were injury ridden my second year here, and we were just lucky to be able to keep the season alive just because we had so many injuries. I think at one point we had like maybe 8 or 10 kids in concussion protocol. We had like 3 ACL tears, and there was a couple other like nagging injuries. So we were really, really struggling to try to keep that afloat. And we did a good job of trying, finishing up the season and finishing strong as we could. And I think the biggest thing is having a contingency plan in case something doesn't go wrong. And I think that's one of my biggest, I guess, ideas going into this, like having a backup plan and knowing who I need to put in certain situations in case, injuries or, prevail.
And for those that are not familiar with Central Academy, you don't really have that middle school feeder program. So obviously injuries are going to impact your program a lot more than other schools would, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are working hard to try to increase the numbers. We do have, in our player interest form that we went around, it's been going around since I took over. We actually have 49 kids that are interested in playing football that go to
Nice.
Central Academy right now. So, we're in the process now of making sure that their registration, and there's a lot of things going on right now. Some kids are on vacation. I got a couple of kids, they signed up for driver's ed this week. So they're going to be missing this week, but just like any other time of year, you just got to deal with some of those things. And, things aren't, required right now. It's not required to August 1st. Knock on wood, hopefully that happens. And, we'll just have to, take them as we get them.
In terms of the players and the roster that you project putting out there, what can you tell us a little bit about the ball club going into this campaign?
We have a lot of experience. I've been watching hours and hours of film the last 3 or 4 months on Central Academy, and like some, they were a JV program the last 3 years, and now we're moving up to the varsity level. We do have a lot of experience, and the thing that really stood out to me is the kids like playing for each other. They really, really like they buy into being a team, and just trying to keep a cohesive team environment, making them understand the importance of playing for the guys around you, doing the best at all times, no matter what, and making sure that your decisions are affecting your teammates.
Probably about a month ago, I interviewed Jetta Hayes, your potential starting quarterback. You
Yes.
talk a little bit about Jetta. I know he played a number of positions over the last few years at the JV level. Talk about him and some other guys that might catch our eye coming into a 2020 campaign.
Well, today was the first day I was able to actually see them and start evaluating their athletic ability as far as putting them in a position to help the team. But Jetta is a natural born leader. He does a great job, trying to get the kids on the team to work out, trying to get them together to go Matthews Sportsplex and work out on the weekends and things like that. He does a good job of leading that by example, and he works out tremendously all the time. He's always texting me and telling me he just got finished working out. I've had opportunity, to see him work out with Anthony Boone up at Matthews a little bit as I'm sitting in the car watching. Obviously, my son's also working out there as well. But Jetta's going to be a valuable part of the team. He's Mr. Everything. From what I understand, watching his film from last year, he didn't really come off the field except for kickoff. the whole he's played the entire game except for kickoff team, which is amazing. But some other guys that stood out, especially today's first day. Roger Melkor, running back. That kid's he's gonna be pretty good. He moves around very well. He's got some scat to him, and he's also very athletic. Does a great job as a team leader. A couple other different leaders. Hunter Wally, outside linebacker. Watching his film from last year, he's wherever the ball's at on defense, he's there. No matter where the ball's at, it could be sideline to sideline. He's going to be around the ball. He's a ball hawk. I'm very excited to see him play this year. Offensive line, we're going to be pretty big up front. We got some big kids coming back. I think as far as the height and weight across the front, we're probably going to be, I would say, anywhere between 6'2", 6'3" across the front, about 250, 260 pounds average across the front on the offensive line side. So I'm excited about those kids coming back.
As a former lineman, it's reassuring to hear those numbers.
Absolutely. Those kids are working hard, trying to get better. Some of the guys that came in today, I was very surprised with their cardiovascular shape. I mean, they did a great job for their first workout today. I went into it, we're gonna take it easy on them, but that first session, I had to turn up the juice because they were ready for some more.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, we'll wind this up. If you had some chips in front of you right now at a table, what percentage or how many chips would you put into starting at this point, at the regular time, that August 17th, I guess, time period, August 24th time period to start the season? Do you feel confident in that, or maybe more confident in a mid-September start?
Well, I want to stay positive for the kids. We need to have positive and be more positive about it. There's been a lot of negativity
Absolutely.
surrounded about everybody, being negative. We're not going to have football. We're not going to have football. I don't want to dwell on that. I want to just do the best and take advantage of the opportunities we're given. Today was a tremendous. I told the kids today, told both sessions that we had today. I just basically told them, like, you guys are very, very lucky. We're like one of the only counties in the state that are actually holding workouts.
Yeah.
There's a few other counties, but like a lot of counties surrounding that, you should take advantage of every opportunity. As far as whether we're going to start on time, I would like to say I don't really want to give a percentage, but if we don't have a plan to go back to school, athletics are hard to talk about. Like my biggest thing, we're student athletes, so we got to get these kids back in the building so they can learn. That's my biggest thing. Like I talk to kids all the time. Been coaching for 20 years, teaching for 20 years. They go a lot further in this building than they will in the athletic field. So my concern is for kids and their education right now. I'm not even talking about the kids at Cal. I'm talking about kids all over the nation that are suffering right now, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, that need that face-to-face instruction. You got kids with special needs that aren't getting the instruction that they need in order to increase their developmental skills as far as learning everything that they need to know before they are released out into the real world and they have to fend for themselves. So that's where I'm at right now. Athletics are very, very important. And, as part of my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at today I wouldn't have a college degree without athletics, in my opinion. But you got to understand that education is much more important than athletics. And we start putting a value over athletics compared to education. I think we're doing this for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, absolutely correct, Coach. And I'll put you on the spot a little bit. You're a father of three. I know, following your social media, you were there instructing and helping your kids out. Do you want to see your kids going back to school on time? How do you feel?
Um, I do. I do want to see my kids back in a real school setting. That me as a father, I'm 100% like, I want to go back as soon as possible. Soon as it's safe to go back, I'd like to see my kids back into a regiment where they're getting up in the morning. We're getting dressed. We're getting I miss the hustle and bustle in the morning trying to get 3 kids out of the door. I mean, some mornings were tougher than others, but like, I tell you what, I miss it. Like this morning, just getting up. Like last night, I think I was more anticipating myself. I was just ready to get out of the house like a normal morning and come to work and like, come in through the door and get on the gator and start setting up for this morning. It just felt good. And I think kids need that structure in their lives.
Completely agree. And Coach, I'll give you one last moment. You brought it up, but I was going to bring it up at the end of our conversation about your son. I interviewed Jetta. I was out there with Anthony Boone, and Anthony really didn't know that much about Jetta. And I told him where he had come from, and he said, "Oh, I had no idea. I'm coaching Coach Griffin's son right here." So brag about your son a little bit, being an aspiring quarterback.
About, I guess, third grade, he started like being really interested in football. Like he's always been interested in sports and athletics, but he's really, really attached to the football, the game itself, and understanding. Like we'll be riding down the road and he'll just like spit some kind of strange fact out all the time about, did you know that Tom Brady did this, or like whatever quarterback, did you know Patrick Mahomes did? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I really don't care about that, but like that's something that he's like very, very interested in, like just stats and understanding the game and understanding like different coverage. To be young, and he has a really, really high IQ as far as like quarterbacks. And as far as quarterbacks are concerned, he has a very, very good IQ as far as reading defenses and understanding like different schemes and things like that. But he started working out with Anthony Boone whenever he was in 4th grade, and he's going to be in 9th grade next year. So he's been with Anthony 5 years now, and every year he's getting better and better. He's getting to work on there's some developmental things he needs to work on as far as like getting stronger and faster. But I think that's going to come with time. But he's a special kid. I'm not saying that just because he's my kid, but like he's a straight A student, Beta Club. He does all the right things. He's my conservative in the house. Like he's a risk guy. He's a risk analysis guy. He's always like, I don't know if I should do this or should I do this if this happens. Like he's always like putting things in perspective and trying to make sure that he's making the right choices all the time. He's still a kid. He makes me choices, so he needs me to guide him every once in a while. But like, I'm very proud of what he's doing, not only athletically, but like in the classroom more or less, because he's a way better student than I was at his age, no doubt.
Well, I will tell you, in the 2 hours I was watching all the kids, he was probably the youngest quarterback in the group of 6 to 8, and he was more than holding his own during that session. So he looks good for sure.
Thank you very much.
All right, Coach. Well, I do appreciate your time. I know today was a big day, and you have a few big days ahead of you over the next few weeks. So thanks again for your time, and keeping my fingers crossed that that we'll get to see each other in person very shortly, in the hopes of playing a football season this fall.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you having me on here. Thank you for what you do for Union County football. You're an integral part of this process and what we're trying to do here.